Well, hi, thanks for having me on. I wrote a book months ago called "A View from the Middle: How an Unknown Actor Managed to Stay That Way." That is my story. For the last 30 years, I've been.
So let's talk about A View from the Middle. Why A View from the Middle? Why even that title, that name title?
Well, my friend, I've been in Los Angeles for over 30 years, and I've been. I mean, you know how competitive everything is in this world. You know, with your branching out TV stuff. You know how everything's competitive, but acting is as bad as it gets. And I was an average looking boy from a small town in Colorado, but I've loved acting my whole life, and I thought I was good at it. And I studied in college, and I had a friend who lived in LA, and I moved down here just to take a chance, like to see if I had it at all, whatever that is. I didn't even know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to live down here and try. So I wrote a book about 30 years of banging my head against the wall, trying to just get on set, get near celebrities, just, a lot of the stuff that you do. I loved the aura that they have around them. I love watching great actors work, and I like the collaborative work that goes into movies and TV shows and commercials and all that stuff. So I just wanted to be part of it. And I ran into so many wonderful people and so many bits of good luck that just put me in these really unique and fun situations for a kid like me from a tiny small town. Like I am blessed beyond belief. And I just wanted to show people, like, you do not have to become a household name to be, I think, wildly successful in acting. I haven't made millions of dollars, or maybe if you add up every penny I've ever made in my life, maybe $250,000. I don't know, but it's not much.
So you written, you produce, and you start in 25 short films and video projects, and those projects land you to win awards and film festivals and in an award show. So how did you feel about that, to be able to show your work and then be awarded for your work?
Well, I fell into that stuff because I've been chasing it for so long. I started as a production assistant. I worked at Entertainment Tonight for couple years.
So how did you land that job? I know you started as an intern.
Yeah, I had a friend in California, and he did an internship at Entertainment Tonight. And he told me, internships, I think you can almost do them anywhere, but he said, you got to come to Hollywood. You got to try it here. So I was in town for about 5 minutes being an intern at Entertainment Tonight, which back then was the only big dog in town. I mean, there's Hollywood gossip all over the place now, but back then in the early 90s, that was it. And they interviewed everybody, and they got to go to the Oscars, and they got to go to the Golden Globes, and I got to do all that stuff because I was an intern there. You get to carry cable and park people's cars and whatever you can do to get your feet, in the building for the Golden Globes. And so I loved it. So I started out as all those PA jobs, and they put me on set all the time. So I got to use my walkie-talkie and say, cut, roll, and then I got to be around all these actors, and then I begged and stole and borrowed and asked anybody I could if I could become one of those guys, like, officer number 1, or guy in coffee bar, or drunk guy number 3. And then I started getting these little tiny parts, and it was fantastic. So I was working on shows, but I found a way to get in the shows in front of the camera. And, they made me look all beautiful. And then the little parts got me meetings with agents. And then then I started getting my own auditions, which was just a glorious couple of years where I was going up I got, on CSI New York and Criminal Minds. And, I worked a day on The Office with Steve Carell and Ed Helms, and just all these.
How was you able to become a guest star? How was you able to get a guest starring role on Criminal Minds and CSI, all of those different movies, TV shows? How was you able to do that?
You gotta hustle. You gotta hustle. I don't know if you've had to. I imagine you, and I've known you for 5 minutes. I bet you've worked your tail off in your life to get where you're at, and acting is no different, but maybe even harder, because there's thousands of people that want dozens of jobs.
Absolutely, because you got a lot of people out there wanting the same thing that same thing that you are doing. Yep.
So yeah, I'm a 5'11" Caucasian. And so for decades, I was every cop on TV, and I was everybody's best friend and the funny little guy with one line. But, if you worked hard on those and you did well in those, they could sometimes lead to bigger parts. So like I got a part on CSI New York, and I got to act across from Gary Sinise, which is, on the days like that where you feel like the clouds have parted and the sun is shining right on you, all those hard working days of getting coffee for people and making copies all day long, and driving my truck around town, picking up dry cleaning for directors, that stuff pays off. And so the point of my book, dear, was like, you don't have to know exactly what your dream is to chase it. I just knew I wanted to be in this business. And so I hustled and I hustled, and I was, there's the phrase like, don't let the other guys outwork you. I knew there were guys out there every day, hustling down jobs.
Right.
So I would get in my little truck and I would drop off 25 headshots a day to anybody that I would put a stack on your desk and say, hey.
But you even worked with the late Betty White. What was it like working with Miss Betty White?
She was the most adorable thing you've ever seen. She was on this big action movie. It was called Hard Rain. It was Christian Slater and Morgan Freeman, and this whole town floods, and these bank robbers are trying to get away with the money. There's a couple people, like in real life, a couple people stayed in their town, in their house, and Betty White and her old cute grandpa husband, I forget his name, but he was a wonderful man. Betty White is this little old lady who stayed in town, and she has a shotgun, and when the bad guys come in her house, she fires at them, and she's a grumpy old lady. But the days she was on set, like, people bent over backwards to help this adorable old lady. The mean, tough, tattooed grips and electrics, they would all hold her hand, and everybody was so delighted to have her there in this big, crazy action movie. She was just this angelic, beautiful woman, and everyone loved her. And when she was sad, when she left, we gave her a standing ovation, and everyone loved working with her.
Right. So who inspires you? Who's your big inspiration? I guess that,
Well, there's just some certain actors that I just always loved. It seemed like when you watch them, like guys like Jack Nicholson and Sam Rockwell and Denzel Washington, and those guys, they just like, they're famous, who they are, but somehow they still find a way with their eyes and their demeanor and the way that they're in the characters. You can't get enough of them. And I just, so my heroes, and not heroes, the people that I want to be like are just the people that you can just tell that they love what they're doing, and they've put in the time and the work and the effort and energy. Like you watch like young Denzel, and you see him in like A Soldier Story, one of his first movies, and you're like, oh my God, that guy, let's go. I want to see as much of that dude as I can. And just I'm just a fan of, like a lot of us. That's why movies are so magical and TV shows are so magical. They're acting, they're on set, but the great ones are the ones that move you. And I don't know if I was ever one of those guys. I don't ever know if I ever moved anybody, but I met a lot of people that did, and that was the fun part for me.
So what do you want the readers to take from your book, A View from the Middle?
Well, I wanted my kids to know, and I wanted my family to know, and my friends that aren't here, with me in LA. I want them to know, like, every now and then I'd call them. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be on Grey's Anatomy. Go watch it this week. And they'd watch me, and I had like 2 lines. I go, oh, that was great, man. I'm like, well, I had a lot more lines, but they got cut. But let me tell you how cool it was the 5 days I was on set, because it was really cool. So I wanted people to know that, like, you don't have to become, a very, very famous person out here to have an amazing career full of fun, adventure, good friends. You find your wife, you have an amazing life in this business, because I think this business is still magical. The people still love going to movies, and there's never been more TV shows ever made that people are binge watching shows, staying up all night long to watch a show that is so gripping to them. And most of my friends work on these shows, they're grips and electric and cameramen. And so I just wanted people to know, and I think I kind of wrote it for my kids too, and myself, to reflect on, I put in a ton of work, and you can call me a success or call me not, but this is what happened. And there's no way you can't read about my journey and think, oh my God, that guy had a ball. And what an amazing bunch of experiences that guy had just by hustling and just by not quitting and going to work for State Farm. That's how I want people to look at it.
Mm-hmm. What's next for you?
Well, I wrote a children's book with my 9-year-old daughter, a Halloween book that should be out within the next, well, Halloween is coming, right? So it's going to be out in the next month. It'll probably be on Amazon Books again, like my old book. And I'm producing. Do you like horror movies at all? Are you a horror girl?
No, I'm absolutely not.
Well, then I won't count on you seeing this one, but
I will look at the movie now, but I'm not a horror girl. I'm gonna tell you that.
Okay.
I don't like scary movies. And I don't because it sticks in my mind sometimes, and it plays that role in a dream at night. So
all right. You just keep watching Jennifer Lopez movies. That's right up your alley. That's what you do.
Maybe I get invited to the next wedding.
But no,
really, that's great, and that's an amazing thing with what you're doing. And we're gonna look for the book. We're gonna read A View from the Middle, and we're gonna look for other great things coming from you. So hey, branch out. Keep branching out.
Oh, I gotta keep hustling. And you can find the book if you go to my website. It's Larkin's World, LARKIN, larkinsworld.com.
Okay.
You're one click away, and you can buy it on Amazon. It's like $8, and I've had a lot of fun promoting it all over the country. And I'm just trying to put the message out there, girl, that you don't have. I'm not like, it's not just like chase your dreams; they'll come true.
Mm-hmm.
But you keep in the hustle, so a lot of good things can happen to you if you keep at it. So that's the message of the book. So.
All right. So word of advice before we go. Word of advice to somebody who is out in LA and trying to do the same thing that you're doing, and things just not working for them. Things is just not going right. No matter what they do, how hard they try, they're doing the right things. They're going in all the right places. So what would you say to them?
I would honestly say, I'd say keep doing exactly what you're doing and try 10 times harder. That's all I can say. Like, and I know this town is made to break your heart, and it will many times over. But I mean, I'm a success story, and a lot of people would look at my story as not a successful story. But I'm telling you, the work is out there, and if you keep banging your head against the wall, then find another wall to bang your head against. And I'm telling you, you can bust through. I'm telling you, stay after it, everybody.